As a longtime fan of Matt Walsh, I typically agree with most of the takes that he has. But I have to say, as a food service worker myself, this has to be one of his worst takes he has ever made. And this take is that the no tax on tips bill is bad. I decided to respond to a few points that he made in his video today and just give my take. Why not? Let's not waste any time and let's get into it. Take number one.
When both Democrats and Republicans get together and agree to do something together, that's when you know that it's just a monumentally bad idea.
So with this take, I could actually understand when both sides unanimously agree on something. It's definitely out of the ordinary. But I think for this one, and I will put all of my hate aside for the Democrats, and I will give them credit where credit is due, because finally, they chose one thing to come to the table with Republicans that everybody can get on board with. I also consider the fact that I live in Washington State and our governor just passed a $9 billion tax package on us. I will take any tax cut that Donald Trump will give federally as long as it trickles down to us in Washington, because there is zero tax relief for us. So yes, thank you Democrats on a federal level for accepting this bill. And it's rare, so take it in that I'm thanking a Democrat today, because Lord have mercy are the Democrats here in Washington State taxing us to hell. So I will take a no tax on tips bill any day of the week. Take two.
I'd like to see a no tax on any income whatsoever policy. But this kind of legislation is not working us towards that goal incrementally.
Here, I find a spot where I agree again as well. Yes, honestly, if we could just get rid of the federal income tax altogether, that would be fantastic. But unfortunately, that's just not something that President Trump can do overnight. If anything, if he did do that, it probably would be the one thing that would probably get him offed. Since he has already floated the idea of getting rid of the income tax, I actually do believe that this is part of incrementally getting to that point. I don't think you can just get rid of it instantly and please everybody. I think what you have to do is ease people in to getting rid of these taxes to make people think, it's one step forward. So I actually do think that Trump possibly could be edging these people just a little bit. Hey, look, I took taxes off of this, I took taxes off of that. So we could get to a point where maybe at the end of his presidency, before he leaves, he says, you know what? Boom. I already got rid of this many taxes. Why not get rid of the income tax before I bounce out? In reality, the middle class and the upper class categories seem to have actually gotten way more tax cuts than people right above the poverty line. So I see it as a win, because your average waiter slash waitress really probably isn't even in the middle class. So I actually see it as refreshing that a president is actually paying attention to the middle class and everybody else below the middle class. Take number three.
Why exactly should the waiter get to have most of his income exempted from taxes, but the retail worker doesn't?
Well, let me tell you, Mr. Walsh, retail workers, they get guaranteed hours. They get a guaranteed schedule, and their job really never slows down year round because everybody has to go and get their groceries. Meanwhile, waiters, waitresses, cooks, people as such, they have slow seasons, and waiters aren't even scheduled 40 hours a week a lot of the time. It actually makes sense to give food service workers a little bit of extra help, because our money fluctuates up and down depending on how much money people are spending at our restaurant. And those points actually go perfectly into take number four.
Because for so long, they've told us that, well, these waiters, they don't get paid a real hourly wage, and so this is their income. So it falls on you as a customer to directly pay their salary, basically. So if that's the case, this is income. You can't have it both ways. So what? Tips are income when it comes to guilting us into giving tips, but they're a gift when the IRS comes calling? That's nonsense. I mean, pick a lane.
Yes, it would be nice if waiters and waitresses could get minimum wage to where they don't have to rely on tips, but unfortunately, that's not how the food service works. The food industry has such small margins. God forbid you get great service and you decide to give your waiter or waitress a little bit of extra money. Why not just help this person out? Because you should know how the system works, and you clearly do.
If you love getting asked for a tip, well, good news. Now it's going to be 40 times a day.
Save me the crying about, oh, people are gonna ask more for tips. If you're that concerned about people asking you for a little extra just so they can survive, especially in a state or city that taxes people all the way to hell, why don't you just ask your wife to make you meals anytime you want? Save me the whining, my brother. And take number 5.
You've given the IRS more to do, not less.
This one I just don't get. How does it make the IRS have more to do? Wouldn't you think not taxing tips would make the IRS do less because now you don't have to report your tips anymore? Maybe I'm not as well versed on the tax code as Matt Walsh is, but to me, having one less tax sounds like the IRS would have to do less. So there is my rebuttal to Matt Walsh's bad take on this new no tax on tips bill. It'd be pretty awesome if he actually ended up seeing this and reacted to what I had to say, because I'd like to be challenged. Hey, I could be wrong. I am biased because I work in the industry, and if it wasn't for tips, life would be so much more challenging. And I am really grateful that as a back of house worker, I actually do get tips now. That's the only good thing that came out of COVID, I'll say. But yeah, it's nice to have a little bit of a counter argument to somebody that I agree with like 95% of the time. So I ain't ever gonna complain about extra money. Oh, it's unfair. Oh well, life is unfair. Peace.